The Epstein files, President Donald Trump now supporting the discharge petition in the House. But that has not only made it a difficult position for House Republicans, but now it's making an uncomfortable shift to what's going to happen in the Senate.
They didn't want to touch this thing with a 60-foot pole.
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
And welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, the latest with the Epstein files. What's next? Number two, intra-party drama for House Democrats. And number three, political heirs running for office in 2026. All right, Jake, let's get to it. We are leading Punchbowl News AM with the big story of the week here in Washington, the Epstein files, and the big about face, of course, that President Donald Trump has done, now supporting the discharge petition in the House. But that has not only made it kind of a difficult position for House Republicans, particularly Speaker Mike Johnson, who for weeks tried to stop this from moving forward, but now it's making an uncomfortable shift to what's going to happen in the Senate.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. They didn't want to touch this thing with a 60-foot pole, the Epstein files.
60-foot pole. Wow, that's the biggest pole I've ever heard in that.
They treated this like, as we wrote in here, I don't know, Brez probably changed it, a toxic nuclear waste. That's how they treated this thing. And now it's going to pass. It could pass unanimously in the House.
What a turn of events.
I don't know how many people will be absent today, but you could get a 400-something to 0 on this discharge petition. So it's going to pass the House. It's going to go to the Senate, and the Senate's going to pass it in some way, shape, or form. You know, either Republicans accept a Democratic unanimous consent request. Republicans either try to UC it themselves. Maybe it's a roll call vote in which it passes, but it's going to pass, and Trump says he's going to sign it. And by the way, if I were a Senate leader, I would think hard about trying to UC it on either side, because if you ask for a roll call vote, by the way, some people who voted against it the first time will be able to vote for it this time.
And they might want to, Jake. I mean, you know.
Well, that's the point. And but will the other side of the aisle want to allow somebody who voted against it get quote unquote right with it? And I don't know the answer to that. So Mike Johnson and Steve Scalise both said yesterday that they want the Senate to fix this thing. If they fix it, it's going to come back to the House. But the interesting thing is this. So Trump is going to sign it. In the legislation, it says that DOJ can withhold documents if they would jeopardize an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution, provided that such withholding is narrowly tailored and temporary. So the Justice Department, Trump has already instructed the Justice Department to open a federal investigation into Democrats' relationship with Epstein. So they already have the prerequisite to withhold or block release of documents. So this is not going to be an immediate production of documents from DOJ once this thing passes, Anna. But what a weird ending to this months-long drama in which the White House, House Republican leadership tried to kill this thing, and now they're like, yeah, cool, it's going to pass. And you know what? Trump got in front of a parade that we wrote this in the newsletter, he got in front of a parade that instead of getting run over by it, you know, he wasn't going to be able to stop the dozens and dozens of people from voting for this thing. So he said, yeah, sure, vote for it. Now he's on the quote unquote right side of it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there's kind of two things that are in my mind as we think about this that are important. One, this isn't just going to go away, though, right? Like, I mean, to your point, like, okay, it's going to go to the Senate. How does the Senate discharge with it? Well, then if they make changes and it has to go back to the House, then you're going to have Trump sign it. You know, is he going to have a signing ceremony for this? I doubt it.
No way. Maybe he will just to rap on Democrats. But
right. But okay, so that's interesting. But the bigger zoom out thing, and we write this, but you and I were talking about this yesterday with some folks, which is, to me, this is much more of a signal that Donald Trump is a lame duck president.
Yeah.
Right. We have talked so much on this podcast and we've written so much over the past year that he's had unprecedented power. House Republicans have fallen in line time and again when it comes to spending bills, when it comes to a lot of things. When Donald Trump calls, House Republicans in particular answer. This is one time where no one was picking up the phone, Jake, and he has to realize there is a limit to power. And this is just, I think, the most public example of that.
Yeah, that's right. And reversing the political wins here would be very difficult. And Trump has had, I mean, listen, his sway is limited right now and is becoming even more limited. And I've said this a million times in this podcast. I don't know why they made such a big deal of this thing from the beginning. I think they elevated it, the Republican leadership, and they made it more than it needed to be. They drew attention to this thing. They did. And I don't know that that got more votes to it. It certainly raised the profile. And the political malpractice here goes back to Trump just repeatedly saying on the campaign trail he was going to release the documents. Then he gets to the White House and doesn't release the documents.
Right.
Now, is there a chance that people are going to be disappointed if they ever see what the quote-unquote Epstein files are? Sure. Like, I don't know that there's like some neat and tidy, list of people. These are the 75 people who were involved in Epstein. You know what I mean? Like, we've gotten a lot from the House Oversight.
A lot of emails, certainly.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Like 25,000 or something like that.
Right.
So, that's kind of where we are.
One quick thing before we move on. We've got some news in the top this morning. Senate Democrats are introducing their version of legislation repealing a controversial provision in the government funding bill that allows senators to sue for $500,000 if their phone records were obtained as part of the January 6th investigation. We saw some rumblings over in the House with some lawmakers upset over the fact that this was included in reopening the government, that legislation. But it looks like both Republicans and Democrats appear to be pushing back here, Jake.
Yeah. I mean, somehow this thing is going to get reversed or changed. I mean, the House is passing something. I don't know if it's today, but this week for sure, repealing it. Mike Johnson says he wants to change it. So he wants to change it eventually. He wants to put new restrictions on it. I'm not sure that's going to fly, but this is going to be one of the many things that we're watching during the funding process as we get into December, January, into the next cycle of funding bills.
All right, Jake, let's move on to the number 2 story of the morning. A bitter Democrat versus Democrat fight broke out on the House floor Monday night, and there will be more of it today. House Democrats failed to table a resolution condemning Representative Chuy García, the Democrat from Illinois, for trying to swing Illinois' 4th district to his top aide, Patty Garcia, following his sudden retirement on November 3rd. Wowza, this is something, just as you think Democrats are focused on trying to kind of beat up Donald Trump and Republicans on Obamacare and COVID subsidies and the kind of rates going up, this becomes a side issue here.
Two things could be true. Chuy García, he retired for legitimate reasons. I was watching this in the House floor last night. I was in the chamber for part of it. Chuy García retired because a terrible tragedy in his family. His daughter passed away. Mr. Garcia and his wife are now, I think, in part caretakers for the children, and he says he needs to be home for his family. That is completely legitimate, and no one is saying that it isn't. Number 2, he also told his chief of staff he was retiring with just enough time for her to be the only one on the ballot.
Right.
That is not great. Not a great look there, right?
But it's pretty extraordinary that a Democrat is doing this effort.
For sure. That was my next point.
Sorry.
Number 3. While the way he did this was bad, Democrats would argue this is not the time or really the place for a member from Washington State to be dropping this resolution on the head of Chuy García. People are like, what's she doing here? Like, what do we got? What's the point? What are we trying to achieve here? Steny Hoyer said, if we're doing this all the time when people do stupid things or, whatever, we'll be doing this all the time. And Republicans, for once, got the hell out of the way and let Democrats have this thing. They didn't vote to table it. They voted against tabling it for the most part. Actually, all of them did.
Yeah.
And then they left the floor and let Democrats fight over this thing, So
it feels like a caucus meeting that has now spilled over onto the House floor.
She should have just texted him and been like, dude, I didn't like how you retired. And he would have been like, yeah, cool. Well, you're from Washington State. I'm from Illinois. So
and a lot of members, Democratic members, were speaking up on his behalf. So.
Oh, yeah. And there were many, I don't think any, I didn't watch the entire thing because it started after the vote series, so it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Almost our bedtime.
Yeah, I was listening to it. I was watching it. I was in the chamber. I got farther and farther from it. I was in the chamber, went to the gallery, then watched it for my Uber.
There you
go.
So
it was like but listen, I don't think any Democrat spoke on her behalf. And it was rough and tumble, man. They were going after, so anyway.
All right, let's run to the number 3 story of the morning. It's all in the family. Legacy's running for Congress in 26. It's so glorious here in Washington, D.C. They want to join us. We've got political dynasties, Jake, trying to make a comeback in 2026.
So I have a brother and a sister. If either of them said to me, hey, Jake, I'm thinking about running for Congress, I'd be like, guys, you should watch C-SPAN for a couple days and talk to me first before you make this plunge. As much as I love Congress, it ain't a fun job. Now, this is amazing. I mean, across the board, tons of political scions are making their run. Jean Shaheen's daughter, Stephanie, Angus King's son, Angus King III, Hannah Pingree, daughter of Shelley Pingree, Adelita Grijalva obviously got sworn in. Jack Schlossberg, famously a grandson of former President John F. Kennedy. Tom Begich is running for governor in the last frontier. His relative Nick is in the House. Jake Levine challenging Brad Sherman. His father, Mel Levine, was a member. Jim Kingston, son of former Congressman Jack Kingston, running to fill the seat of Buddy Carter. John Sununu is running for his old seat. Jesse Jackson Jr., a name I haven't heard in quite some time, is looking for his seat again. Anna, it's a special place, Congress, and I'm happy that everyone will be able to experience what their family members have experienced.
It's a great item by Allie, and it just was instructive, I think, given, I think it was last week, we were just talking about another item she did about how all these former members are trying to get back into the game. So it's very interesting. The pull of Congress, hard to get away from. With that, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. If you like the Daily Punch, share it on social media, tell your friends. It's the best way for folks to find out about us. And of course, you can go deeper on all things Punchbowl News by going to punchbowl.news and signing up for our free morning newsletter. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.